Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Meet the Dev series for SurgeGames. Today, we're sitting down with one of the owners of the company, Justus, who is the lead for level and item design. Today, we're talking about his role in the upcoming game Impending Dupe. So, Justus, just wanted to go in first. What got you interested in game development and level design?
I've played a lot of games that have impacted me personally in this way, but I'd say the main contributors to my passion in this field is Minecraft and Skyrim. In Skyrim, it was all about the details for me and the story and the expansiveness, the never ending. It felt like a real world because you would get lost in it, just like a real world. Like you can't possibly experience everything that it has to give, and that's what makes it great. So I've always loved playing that. And then Minecraft, I'm a veteran. I've been playing Minecraft for probably 14 years. And I've always been a builder. That's always been my main interest. So that plays directly into this role is dealing with architecture and worlds. I always wanted to craft my own world. That's why I was so into Minecraft is I could make my own world. And that's why I was into Skyrim because I could affect the world and change it. Yeah, so I'd say playing video games is what got me into wanting to make these worlds.
With your passion for all these world-building games like Minecraft and Skyrim, I could tell that it really carried over in your inspiration for the upcoming game Impending Dupe. I want to know more though, like how did you join the Surge Games team?
I actually started SurgeGames, the company. I was the sole owner in the beginning, and I decided to split it between me, Matt, and Austin to delineate the roles and get things going. I had to learn how to lead by being an employee, and I started out by learning how to lead by being a leader, which is very hard. For me especially, I think I'm a little too nice when it comes to management, and you need some sternality to you to get things going, and that just didn't work out at first. But now that we've delineated the roles and it's a tri-member situation, things are working a lot better, and we're actually getting to a precipice of the game being playable. Well, it is playable now, but I mean for the public.
Teams always have a hard time starting up at first. After you get used to each other's quirks and personalities, it can really help speed things up and bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah, you need to homogenize and harmonize.
I wanted to know more about the level design process. Like, how do you approach building like game level design from scratch, and the type of tools and softwares you use to do so?
Me and Matt have both been using Unreal Engine. Some people might think it is silly, but I've made everything you see in the game, the world, the levels, or the cities, and the items is all made in Unreal Engine in the viewport. And if, someone's out there listening to this and they know about making things in the viewport, you're just combining shapes together. So the whole game is just a bunch of shapes that I manually put together, and then I made textures. We got like 550 something textures from someone on Fab. That's what we've been using. But you still have to, alter them. So I alter them and color them in the way to make them look good on objects. And from scratch, I conceptualize it first, of course, but it's entirely in my head. I don't draw anything or like write anything down. I just have in mind a vision, and then I start making buildings first, and then I put those buildings down, and then I think about how should I connect these buildings. Then I connect the buildings. So, sometimes that's roads, sometimes that's just dirt, and then I make the objects. Then I make, the lighting fixtures and things like that. So I go from big to small. Usually is the easiest way for me.
So I know you had some inspiration from like Minecraft, Skyrim, and all those building games. I wanted to go more in like how you go about deciding like the level's flow, pacing, and challenges when you create the level.
I always start with the what is imbued in this level. What's the story going on here? Is this the start? If it's the start, then things should be detailed and be character investments, and the environment should get you sort of kickstarted into what to expect. I'm trying to put the people's personalities into the level itself so that then when the people are there, they match and it makes sense. So I think about it with characters in mind. Now, those characters may not be put there necessarily, but versions of those characters with a similar personality will most definitely be in that area. That's for sure. That always happens. These things are somewhat planned, but at the same time, the creation process is still driven by passion, mostly. Loose planning.
Can you also go more into how you decided like where each items go in the levels?
Yes, of course. In terms of items, I think about what person, for like in a house, I think about what person lives in this house, what do they like? So I was doing this one house and I decided this person likes fish. So I made a fish painting and I put a little aquarium in there. And then I decided, okay, they like fish. They also like to collect things. So I put a shelving unit in there for them, things that would clue you into them being a collector. Maybe they're a little neurotic, those sorts of things. And then maybe their appliances are placed in a certain way and their couch is facing the TV directly, maybe. Maybe they're very particular, OCD in a way. So I delve into the person and then live in that environment as them, and then what items do they have, what makes sense for them. Maybe someone wants to mess around with a Rubik's cube while they're watching TV.
Now, with your experience so far developing the levels for Impending Dupe, were there any specific like challenges or surprises that came up that you just weren't expecting when level designing or placing items or objects in the world?
There was a problem with the mall. I made it too big and it had a really hard time load. It would take minutes to load into it, and obviously that's not a great player experience. So I had to completely redo the mall, and that sucked because I had worked on that mall for a month and a half, and then I just had to throw it away and make a new one. But the new one was fun to do. New one took like 3 weeks itself, but it was smaller and it performed well. So that was the whole point. I don't want people playing a game and it performs like crap.
Of course, yeah, there's always struggles with developing anything that takes a lot of effort, especially a video game. Speaking of that, with the issues that you faced along the way, how does that play, like, with your inspiration, the problems you overcome, and the design process? Can you explain more about how you worked with Matt and Austin to make this world's level and items be more cohesive and like come alive to really interact with the game?
So in the beginning, I had planned out a lot of things, and then Matt would be sort of a logistical character discussing the functionality of things and what we can and can't do, what's feasible. And so I talked to him about that and see how many characters Austin could make, those sort of things. What were these people going to be like? So there was some rigid planning in the beginning. And then as time went on, we just started to create, whatever felt right. And then we're still going by the plan, but things would switch around. We'd have to change things to make them fit better. So we would adjust as we went. And now we are strongly into a nook and we know exactly what's meant to be there. Things will stick out like a sore thumb if we are very much in the direction already. So it was just about finding that direction, and we kind of stumbled into it, I guess I'd say, but that was on purpose. We're trying to find it as we're going.
Yeah, so working alongside your team, I want to go more like what was the favorite piece on the level design? Like, what's your favorite level or favorite item in the game that you worked on so far?
My favorite level I've made for this game has to be Crag City, I think. It is kind of hard to choose. They are like my children, but I'd say Crag City. I just like the idea of rock people stuck in, you know, capitalistic slavery per se. It's an interesting dynamic, and it just feels like modern day, except in a fantasy world where things can change for the better, hopefully. But I do also really like what I did with the last level. I'll just call it the island for now. That was enjoyable because I'm really much into architecture, and I'll just spoil it. It's a Mayan temple, and I think Mayan temples are so cool. The shape that's going on there. I wasn't able to fully encompass the actual shape of what a real Mayan temple looks like, but I'm proud of what I did. I got very close. And I think the inside of it looks awesome too. It's got its own atmosphere for sure. Like they knew what they were doing back in the day building those temples because the inside feels, even in the game, it feels like a different environment. It's got a certain feel to it, a vibe. So that I shout out to that one too. Yeah, Crag City, I guess. And then favorite item? That's tough. I've made so many items. I guess the Dilophosaurus skull, which was suggested to be put in the game by Matt because that's his favorite dinosaur.
Is that going to play
That
a
that
key
wasn't
role?
even. It is going to play a key role, but that wasn't even planned. Matt just was. He really wanted that in the game, so I said okay. I sat down. And it took me like 9 hours, but I did it, and I'm really proud of it. That's when I got in like the groove and like I really knew what I was doing. So I was able to make that.
So is that like the most thing you're excited for players to explore or see when they play Impending Dupe?
I'm excited to see them explore Sing City, the first city, which is in the demo. Just because it's like that's where they're dropped off. That's where they start. I'm really excited to see what people do in the beginning, what people's initial thoughts are. I just hope they like it really. I hope you guys like it because we worked really hard.
Well, it sounds like the game is really coming along in development. Well, Justice, thanks for sharing your story and giving us a look at the behind the scenes of Impending Dupe. If you're interested in following the progress of the game, make sure to check out the links in the description, and thanks for watching.